Hello! Welcome to a brand new art video. Thank you for joining me today. And today we're going to be going all digital. And it's going to be a fan art piece, as you can tell from the thumbnail. Pokemon for me, I think, it's been in my life on and off since it got popular over here in the late 90s. So I was 9 when I started collecting the cards. I think I was probably like 10 or 11 when I first got a Game Boy. So this has been it's been a part of my life, on and off. Like I think a lot of people, I kind of left it in the teen years. Like I don't think I played like Ruby, Sapphire when those came out. But I think I did pick up some of the later DS games, and then I picked up X and Y, and then I've kind of been playing them a little bit more since then. But anyway, so it's been something that I've kind of liked for a while. And growing up on the coast, mermaids had always, or just nautical things in general, were always kind of popular. I had some affinity with some nautical stuff. It wasn't like stuff I sought out, but I just thought it was neat. But mermaids I always thought were cool. And so when that episode, I think it was like Misty Mermaid or something, came out, that episode kind of like stuck with me as a neat one. And so that's what this piece is kind of based on, is that episode, or at least what Misty was wearing in that episode. And as far as like the idea for what I wanted to do for the piece, I kind of wanted her to be kind of like battle ready. Isn't it? Sort of what I was thinking was, I think his name, Akira Toriyama. He's the guy that made Dragon Ball and did a lot of concept art for the Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior games. I think those came out, maybe the first one was like the late 80s. But what he would do is they would give him like screenshots of gameplay or like some of the battles, and he would illustrate what he thought was like going on, sort of like a cinematic version of it. And so that's what my thought here was kind of like expanding upon, taking a little bit from the anime and then expanding upon the idea of like battling her in the games, and sort of like illustrating what that might have looked like if it was fleshed out more than, just little 8-bit sprites on a Game Boy. And as far as like the style goes, I didn't really want to draw her in, like I didn't want to draw her on model. I'm not, like anime's cool and all. It's not a style that I like to draw in. It's fine if you do, it's just not my cup of tea. I just kind of wanted to produce her in a way that like, kind of like if I had come up with her as a design. Not saying my design's better by any means, just kind of, I just wanted her to be in more of a little bit Western style. Some of the fun parts of digital, which I always champion, is the ability to quickly fix your mistakes, or like fix what's wrong. Well, I guess that is what's wrong, but fix your mistakes with your drawings. Just selecting different parts, erasing them, and moving things around. Oh, it's super nice compared to traditional. I love traditional, as you would have seen on this channel. Most of my sketches and most of my illustrations start out on paper. But just as far as concepting, it's so easy to just concept digitally. And so, something I want to mention, you'll notice I drew her whole cranium before I put hair on it. And that's something I try to do all the time when I'm drawing characters. I try to draw the head and then put the hair on it. And like the reason I do that is to make sure that I give her enough cranium. Something I notice in like a lot of my older drawings, and I still see it periodically in other artists' work, is they don't quite give enough cranium on their characters. Like they basically draw the hair where the head should be, instead of having the hair sit on top of the head, if that makes sense. Or I guess you can just look at this. You can still see her head, and then you can see that the hair is just sitting on top of it. For me, that's the way I like to approach it. And since doing that, like, I don't know if I've ever run into a low cranium or not enough cranium issue in a while. And then now the fun part, which was adding in her Pokemon for this. And I'd done a Misty Mermaid piece about a year ago. I think I gave her like a Poliwag and a Staryu. I draw a lot of seahorses, so I was going to give her a Horsea. But, and then I thought it'd be a little bit cooler to just go and give her like a giant Gyarados and maybe have it just be like she's swimming next to him. And so, you know, you don't see the whole thing, which just kind of shows how big he is. So that was kind of the neat idea with that. And I could have him kind of snake through the piece and have it frame her a little bit better, which is what's going on right now. And I wanted to go fairly simple on the palette. I was going to pick colors basically straight up from the source for her. I didn't color pick per se, but I had the reference up on one of my other monitors and was pulling from that to pick her colors. And I still go, even though he's sort of a background piece, I'm still gonna put him on his own layer, and after I like his shape, I'm gonna lock those pixels up. That's something I preach all the time. Is make your shape and lock your pixels. It's so nice because you don't have to fight with your drawing anymore. And then coming up is, I think we're about to hit it, is I don't always record these drawings or these paintings in one sitting. I'll usually come back to it and do it in 2 or 3 parts. This one was done in 2 parts, but when I came back for the second part, I forgot to record for like the first 10 minutes. And so, like, there's not really too much lost. Like, you can still see how I'm painting this and how I'm approaching things. So for that, like, nothing's lost, but I did lose kind of the fun part of the painting, which was kind of giving Gyarados, or fleshing Gyarados out a little bit. That was really fun, and so it was kind of a bummer that that part didn't make it onto the recording. But I'll just have to be more careful with that next time. And I haven't missed any since, you know, forgotten any footage, so. This is a neat trick. The background I wasn't quite happy with anymore, but I didn't want to change any of the textures I had in there, and I liked the value of it. So a fun little thing is just throw a hue saturation layer up there, and I'm not sure if I can't remember if I took the color out and then recolorized it with hue saturation, or if I just went with it. I think I just went with it. But that's a fun way to just kind of tweak some of the colors in the background to try and get them to fit a little bit better. At least if you're happy with how the marks came out. And a nice thing that's kind of our happy accent that's kind of happened in making all of these art recordings and then doing commentary over later is I've been able to kind of analyze my process a little bit more. And in some of the early recordings, you'll see that I was struggling with the hair like over and over and over again. But having watched videos of it and having talked through it, I'm not making the same mistakes anymore. And so like in this one, I much more quickly went right into just sculpting that hair instead of fighting with it and trying to draw like every little strand like I had been and getting frustrated and then just starting over and sculpting it. So kind of a neat thing for analyzing, or happy accident anyways. I highly recommend people figuring out a way to kind of self-analyze your work without beating yourself up too much. It's kind of tricky. Like, that was something I had struggled with in art school, was kind of knowing what was good and why. So think about those. Think about that, and try it out. Like, the next time you're looking at a piece that like really draws your attention, really think, why does this piece grab my attention? Like, what's good about it, and what do I like? And you'll get better at it as you go on, and then, at least for me anyways, it ended up translating into my own work, where I could more objectively look at a piece and see what's wrong with it and figure out how to fix it. So, food for thought. Alright, and we're about out of time, so I'll let the music take us from here. Please check the description below. There's some links to where you can find some of my other artwork. Thank you for joining me today. Bye-bye!